Welcome back to Girl About Town. I am Amila Skepe yet again, and I am joined by Kurt, who is a beast in the culinary scene. And if you've gone to some of our outdoor markets in GQ, you might have seen his food truck with some of the best fast food goodies. Kurt, thank you so much for coming to Girl About Town. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Amila. Thanks so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Let's dive right into it, right? Tell us about your background and how Kurt's Kitchen was brought to life.
I've always enjoyed cooking. I've always enjoyed cooking for people, not just for myself. And one day there was this opportunity just in my community. We were going to start this little community market. And I thought to myself, this is the day that I need to just start something, start to follow this idea, this feeling that I've had that it's something I always wanted to do. And I started getting some things together, put together some kind of menu of things that I like. And that's really where it all started, things I like. And yes, and then I had to just push and start it.
And speaking of a menu, what inspires your recipes? Are there any childhood faves that influenced your menu?
So my menu actually is largely based on what I like, to be very honest with you. So I love curries. I generally love Eastern food. So I came up with the food that I like to eat, and that's where I started. And then I decided to make that my mainstay. I did delve out from there a little bit, but it's still my main line are the spicier things, Eastern food, Indian food, simply because that's what I love. And then I had to consider the fact that not everybody likes too spicy food and adapted the menu. And that's where I came onto the butter chicken. I had to think of something that's really nice, that would still be true to the kind of food that I was basing my menu on.
Yes.
But something that would open up the market a bit for people who wanted that tasty food but didn't want spice. So I started playing around with the butter chicken menu and the butter chicken recipe and came up with where it is now.
That butter chicken is a staple in your menu. People love it. You're known for your welcoming, warm and friendly hospitality. What's your golden trick in keeping your clients coming back for more?
You call it a trick, but it's actually more of maybe a fault in my personality that I just want to make people happy.
Yes.
I want to make people happy with my food. So I will lose sleep if I feel at any point that my food didn't match up to the kind of expectation that people now have for the food they've had from Kurt's Kitchen before.
Yeah.
So really all I'm trying to do is serve the best kind of food I can. I don't ever want somebody feeling like, oh, well, I should just have eaten at home or I should have bought something else. I want them to feel like this is why I came here.
Yes.
This is what I got before, or it's the kind of food and the kind of quality that I got before, and I'm coming back for that. And when people say this to me, it makes me so happy. When sometimes I'd be serving a queue of people and someone will just come around the outside and say to me, Thank you for that. It was like amazing. And they don't know how my heart's doing, like cartwheels and all kinds of things, because no matter how long I'm doing this for and no matter how often I do it, I still get that thrill when I know that somebody was really happy with their choice of coming to eat my food.
Yeah. And what are the challenges of running a mobile culinary business, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Yes, there were two things I had to learn when I started this business, because I'm totally self-taught. The first thing I had to learn was cooking at a larger scale. It's not the same as cooking for your family in the kitchen. You've got to be able to scale it up, and not everything just scales up equally. You got to learn how to do it, and that's through practice. And then the other big problem is, as you say, it's mobile. It's mobile and it's small. Your space is limited, whether it's for transporting your goods, your equipment, your food, your supplies, as well as when you are serving.
Yes.
It's always going to be in a limited space. So that is something that we had to learn. I had to learn how to cope with that space, how to keep things cold, how to keep things hot. And you've only got X amount of resource, whether it is space, whether it is whatever. You can only have so much. You can only take so many supplies. You can only take so much food. But it comes with time. You just persevere and you keep going and you learn how to work in that little galley kitchen.
Kurt, what were your dreams growing up and how have they evolved into what you do today?
I'm a real dreamer. I have always had dreams, and I still have dreams. One of them was flying. I didn't get to that yet. The closest I got to that was in life-saving, where we manned the rescue chopper when I was a younger man. But one of my dreams was always to have a business, whether it was a small business or a big business. I wanted to have something that I could call my own, something that I know that I've grown, I've put the effort in it, and I've made a difference with that business.
Yes.
And this is it at this point. I would like it to grow bigger. So many of my customers are saying to me, when are you going to have a restaurant or a shop or a takeaway? When are you going to have something where I can just come any day to order? And I've said to those people, you better be ready, because when I do it, you said to do it, you better come and buy. But yeah, these are the dreams. And also it's a dream of legacy as well in terms of my children. I want them to know that they can tackle a dream, they can tackle an idea, they can try something, they can be independent. Because I think that too often we are too scared to take the step, and we cannot imagine ourselves being that successful in what we are doing, but we've got the dream. And I wanted my kids also to know, and they've worked in the business, especially when I started. I did pay them.
Just a side note.
Yes, I did pay them. But I wanted them to know that they can also follow a dream. They can do something about what they want. They can make something happen, even if it is not exactly what you wanted. You may have to amend the dream as you look at what is possible and what is out there and what you can do, your limitations, your strengths, your weaknesses. But yeah, part of this was also, part of my dream was a legacy, just for them to have that information in their back pocket, whether they're going to have a job one day or whether they want to have a business, that they would know, hey, this is possible. I've done it before. I can do it. I've seen it done.
And when you're not cooking up a storm, what does a day in your life look like?
Well, it's difficult to imagine now because I'm working just about every day. I work in the day. I have a day job, Monday to Friday. And then in the evenings, I'm prepping for the weekends. I love swimming. I grew up swimming. I grew up with life-saving and all that. So that is something I enjoy. I haven't been very physical of late, which is not good. But I need to get back into that because it clears the mind and obviously good for the body. I enjoy doing things with my hands. If I have to do things around the house, like plumbing, fixing things, painting things, I enjoy that. But finding the time for it at the moment has been difficult. And then I also enjoy woodworking. Before I started the business, that was something I was doing a lot in my garage, just puttering around, building little things, building a table, building a seat, whatever. I absolutely enjoy working with my hands. And then I used to, I know this is a bit strange, but I used to look into businesses.
Yes.
I used to look at small business entrepreneurship. It was almost like a hobby. Reading things about that, watching YouTube videos about entrepreneurship. It was always something that was on my mind. So it actually was, I don't know if I can call it a hobby, but it was certainly an interest, spending time looking into these things. And of course, I still do, I watch basically cooking shows, especially on YouTube and that, and see what people are doing. It just gets those creative juices flowing, and I think of ideas. I don't always implement them, but I think of things. And I also picture doing it, what I would need, what I can get, what I can't get in South Africa if it's like an international program.
Yes.
And then seeing the possibilities of, these various flavors, and imagining if new flavors could work in our situation and in our country. Even when I started with the butter chicken, it wasn't a very popular, let's call it 4 years ago, it wasn't a very popular dish in, I don't know if I should say South Africa, but in the general public in Port Elizabeth, it wasn't very popular. To this day, I still carry toothpicks so that I can give people tasters, because when I started, every second person would say, what is butter chicken? Obviously in certain parts of society, it's very well known. But that is something I still do to this day, is watch recipes and cooking shows and things.
And if you had one piece of advice before we close to give to a person that dreams of having a food truck someday, what would it be?
I'd say it's not particular to a food truck. I'd just say to someone who has an idea, who has a dream, it's all the same. At first, it will seem impossible. And growing up, I had all these ideas and dreams of things I wanted to do. And the minute you realize that it's difficult or that something would be hard to achieve or hard to break through, you kind of give up. But I would now say that you need to try to push through. You need to try and figure out, if I can't reach from point A to point B as I had intended, is there an alternative? Or is there a way to amend the outcome or amend the desired outcome or amend the route I'm going to take to get there? You know, I'm cooking curry. Not everybody likes spice. Maybe I can still give them something from that genre, which is butter chicken, for instance, you know. And also, I feel like kids need to see it being done. Kids need to know that somebody has done this. Someone has done it. Someone has followed a dream.
Yeah.
And we don't always have that. We don't have access to that education. And I'm not talking about the education of the books. I'm talking about the education of seeing a parent, an uncle, an aunt, a neighbor start a business, follow a dream, and actually achieve it, whether it's huge or whether it's on a smaller scale. These kids need to know that these things are possible. And that's an education, to see it being done or to be living in that presence of it being done, you know, seeing someone push through, start something small. When I started, I got a pot from my mother, I got a pot from my mother-in-law, you know, you lend this, borrow that. And I stole a whole lot of things out of my wife's kitchen. I finally returned many of her spoons about half a year ago. I got all my own spoons. And we come up with excuses because it seems too difficult. But actually, we need to learn to push through. And if it doesn't work in this direction, we need to go in a different direction. How else can I make this work?
Yeah.
I didn't have a food truck. I got a gazebo. You know, I didn't have a nice shop front. I built a beautiful wooden serving a serving counter. You must just think of ways to come around it until you can get to the outcome that you intended. You need to see if there are alternatives. And believe in yourself. It can be done.
Like Kurt said, redirect if it seems kind of impossible. Anyway, Kurt, thank you so much for joining us on Girl of Our Town. It was indeed an insightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
I feel like a bit of a celebrity. Just for a minute.
Consider yourself one.